of grunts are over there.
I know.
Okay, so you can just kind of talk about how you've seen the evolution of grunting in the game over the years?
Well, yeah, in the old days you didn't see much of it, or you didn't hear much of it. And I don't know if it first became famous with Sharapova, but I think a certain amount of grunting is good in terms of it's showing somebody's really invested and they're trying hard and they're passionate. but clearly in the last decade or so, maybe a little bit more, um, I would say the intent is to do harm to the opponent and be a distraction, and a little more gamesmanship. So I think sometimes with our players, it's not so much the gamesmanship as much as it is anxiety that's starting to increase. And when a point goes 100 balls and you're expending that much energy, it's just too much. So it's like everything else. In balance, it's okay, but when it's done at extreme levels, it certainly isn't very tasteful.
So you kind of are on the side that you think it could actually, there's a part of it that's showmanship and a part of it that's actually like a natural
Yes.
release of tension. And
Yes, I mean, for example, Monica Seles used to slightly overdo it, but it was not at all gamesmanship. She just was that passionate and tried that hard. Connors used to grunt on the guy's side more than, say, Rod Laver would, but it wasn't. There was no intent with him to, for gamesmanship. It's certainly, for whatever reason, been something more predominantly on the women's side.
wait for the wind to die down a little bit. I know, actually, I went back and I watched that 92 women's final when Seles, after all the heat about her noise in the semifinal against Navratilova, and she didn't make a peep against Graf in the final, and she lost. Like, it was a marked, you could tell that her trying to suppress it actually disrupted her game. And I know Stacey Allister has said that the grunting rule that they're putting in effect now wouldn't apply to today's stars because of, I guess, the negative damage it would do on their game because they're just used to it. So as a coach, is there anything you have to do with the new rules as far as like trying to, are the girls in the college team, are they expected to abide by these rules? Or
no, this is for the professional level only, so it hasn't come down to us yet, but I would like it to. Again, anything that is within sort of the world of normalcy, and sometimes that's a hard thing to sort of figure out, but for someone like me who's been around, it's actually not a hard thing to figure out. There's over the top and there's within reason, and so I certainly don't have anybody on my team at the moment that does it, for gamesmanship. If anything, when it starts to get too loud, it's more nerves. And so I don't want that to start to come into play. I want them to take some nice deep breaths, stay relaxed, stay functional, and just play rather than just be too amped up.
I know some of the reports I was reading about what the WTA is doing, part of it, aside from the on-court decibel reader that they're going to try to implement as far as with objective rules, if it passes this point, then it's a point penalty. I guess they'll treat it like a hat falling off or let cords. But it gets to the point, there was another stipulation that said education with the juniors as far as teaching them new breathing techniques to supplement or to replace grunting. Is that something you agree with? Do you think there is a replacement for grunting, or?
Listen, you can either be a good sport or a bad sport, and the grunting, generally speaking, the premise of it is just bad sportsmanship. Now, some people are passionate and they're trying hard, but there's a lot of fist pumping in their opponent's face after they win a point and saying, come on, and somewhere along the line, in the last few years, this has just become acceptable behavior. And not that I'm so old, but I'm more traditional, so I don't like that. If our player wins a point and they're excited to win a point, that's great, as long as it's within themselves and a way to motivate themselves, not in a demonstrative way at their opponent, which really looks ugly.
I've also noticed, I went back through some of Sharapova's footage, and like you said, how there tends to be, like, there's the natural, anxiety and nerves that comes out in grunting, but then I've noticed in some matches, there's what tends to be, I guess, the actual grunt and not the shriek.
Right.
Because I've noticed some matches, it's a deeper, it's a lower tone, and you can tell she's exerting herself versus the kind of rote, high, squealing stuff. So there's kinds of be like there is a switch. They know how to turn it off or on.
No, of course. And that's really, when you say shrieking, you've hit the nail on the head. that is a sort of a manufactured, unnatural, annoying, pestering sort of thing, which I just think it's just rotten sportsmanship.
And just one final thought. I know Navratilova has been a very outspoken critic of grunting. She thinks that the WTA is giving them too much time. Like, they're saying there's no timetable, it needs time to implement it. And Navratilova is kind of on the fence where she's like, they can turn it off or on right now. We need to stop taking baby steps. Just get it out. Do you think that there's...
No, listen, I agree with her. I really do. And that's coming from the horse's mouth. She was out there. She did it. She knows what it's like to play under lots and lots of pressure. And she's certainly had the choice in her career to adopt mannerisms that would be sort of disrespectful or bad in the world of sportsmanship, and didn't do it. So I have to sort of agree with her for sure.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Okay, I hope that was... Well, if it was, then call me and we'll do it again.
Alright, so when you're going up, right, the thumb goes up. When you're going down, turn it down. Try to keep your arm like the shoulder level. Alright, we're going for 8, sorry. Thumb goes up, right? And then you turn it the other way. Alright, once you're done, flip on your stomach, grab both. Face down, arms up. Nice and slow. 1 all the way, then we're back down. 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, Bryn! Are we going to train today, or we're just going to keep going with the warm-up? Keep going inside.